That music that a lot of people comment about.
Is it porn star music?
That's what.
Tell us.
Can't confirm or deny,
yeah.
but that's what a lot of people say. Dave Matthews, super producer, thank you for that amazing intro. How's everyone feeling? Late Sunday in the ComplexCon weekend. How are we feeling? Are we still feeling good energy? Good.
Okay.
Matt Welty just came from the gym. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why he's.
Skies out, thighs out.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it's overcast.
He's been in the gym all weekend.
True story, 6:15 in LA. I'm always on New York time still,
Yes.
so I'm up early. 6:15, I'm getting a coffee in the lobby. He's jogging down, going right to the fitness center. So he hasn't slacked. He hasn't slacked on his gym routine.
Tried.
Brendan, how we feeling?
I feel okay.
That's it?
I mean, it's a.
That's it?
You always question my energy when we do this thing.
Yeah, I know. I know that the energy's always there for you, but you come out here and
Am I making you nervous?
no.
It's a special occasion, right?
It is a special occasion. This is our 100th episode.
True story.
The 100th episode.
Thank you.
We first basically shot the pilot. I don't know if any of you guys were here. We shot like the pilot episode at ComplexCon
2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2019, about Yeezys.
Yes, it was about Kanye West becoming like a billionaire and
Yep.
the Yeezy empire. I don't know if any of you guys were here for that, but
Not our greatest episode.
no, we were rusty.
gotta start somewhere.
Listen, we were rusty. We were just starting out. Who
Now
knew that,
we're professionals, as
who
you
knew
can tell.
that the podcast would become as big as Joe Rogan's podcast in just 2 years, you know? Very busy weekend. What have you guys
I
enjoyed?
saw Lupe Fiasco eating a chicken sandwich outside. That was a big moment for me.
In the lagoon?
Yeah, in the First We Feast Lagoon. It was one of those, he was mid-bite, and he gave me a little elbow touch, and I didn't want to,
He recognized you.
No, absolutely
Well,
not.
I
So
think
he's just eating and giving you elbow
Yeah, he was
bumps?
like, later.
I think I
was like,
mentioned.
okay.
I think I might have mentioned this story on here before. Last ComplexCon, Conceited introduced me to Lupe Fiasco, and Conceited told
Was
Lupe,
he eating a chicken sandwich? Or
No, but he told him, "Full Size Run's awesome. You need to come on the show." And he goes, "Haha, yeah, fucking right."
Wow. All right. And he hasn't been on the show.
No.
If security's in here, we have to escort Lupe Fiasco out immediately. We have to.
Speaking about Conceited, I thought Conceited was supposed to be here because Trinidad James, who had a great booth, did you guys see?
A great booth?
Three
Yeah, three booths.
Three booths.
Is he here? Is he here with us right now? He's probably busy selling socks.
He sold out of those sneakers so quick, he's already in LA or something. He came.
Yeah.
But Conceited was supposed to be here. I know that because Trinidad James gave me 13 names to submit for the guest list
Plus
this
13?
weekend. Yeah,
And
he had
Conceited was one of them.
Yeah, and Conceited was on it. He had and Trinidad, yeah, plus 13, but I didn't see Conceited here.
You couldn't fit him in your carry-on luggage.
Oh my God.
Yeah, listen, we have tea in these mugs. Look at this arrangement of merch.
Do
that we
people
have
know
up
about
here.
the heat-activated mugs?
I don't think they do because is it glowing? The mug is supposed to glow, but is it glowing?
Can
for
you see the
guys?
logo? So sometimes we have these on set. Really high-tech stuff, but once you get some hot tea in there, the logo really comes alive. So I don't know if we've shown off this technology yet.
I mean, if you treat that like a Manhattan special, you might spill the tea, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And somewhere up here should be the Jason Mark sneaker shopping collab kit that we dropped exclusively this weekend. Go get that if you haven't. Go get it. Bring it to the ASAP Rocky show and just have it. You guys could cheer and you can have the Jason Mark cleaner in one hand.
It'll be like the Run DMC Adidas moment.
Exactly,
Right?
just
Everybody
hold it
will
up.
be holding up their Jason Mark sneaker shopping collab.
And DMC at ComplexCon.
Yeah, that's right. He was at a booth. That's right. Did you get to swing by?
I saw him there, but I didn't.
Do you think he recognized you being kind of the Adidas brand? I feel like you and DMC have had...
Where do we both sit on the
equal-
pantheon of Adidas
Yeah,
ambassadors?
I feel like you've both influenced equally.
It's like one person who's like makes the brand get into a space, and the other person who has a failed Adidas collaboration that never happened.
Which is which?
I don't know.
Wait, you had an Adidas collab that never happened?
I mean,
Maybe.
we've mentioned that here.
Is
and
that a
there, but-
myth?
No,
No.
I can confirm that. I can confirm
it
that
was
Matt
in a
Welty.
design meeting and everything.
Really? How did it get canceled?
There was an NDA, so we can't talk about it too terribly much. But
The pandemic happened,
Oh, okay.
and then everything got pushed. And
Yeah,
then
where were you,
we never
Joe?
heard from them again.
is anybody from Adidas here that we can start that back up? Raise your hand.
Do you ever see like some of the people that the brand collaborates with, and you're like, man,
And you're like,
my
I'm
shit
cooler
would
than
have
these
hit
people.
so much harder than that?
do you think? I don't know if that's the right way to convince them.
I mean, sometimes you got to put the pressure, right?
Okay, this is officially us putting the pressure on Adidas.
Yeah, we got to make it happen. Maybe next year you'll have your own. You'll have your own Adidas. Who's going to the Rocky concert?
Are you going, Joe?
I am gonna go.
That doesn't. I don't.
You know, I try to
I'm-
psych.
that's not
I
very
try to
confident.
psych myself up. Getting very excited. We're gonna cap off the weekend.
You're worried about
ComplexCon.
my energy.
Wait.
Getting very excited.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Then, like hour by hour on
Yeah.
Sunday, the energy just starts to go down. I got to really rally. But I think
For nostalgia's sake, are you breaking out a pair of the En Noir leather joggers?
I left those in New York. Were
Were they
that
close
was an
to
error.
making the cut? Like in
No.
terms of outfits you were bringing for ComplexCon, were the
No.
leather pants close or?
No, they weren't. That would be a big leap to do. You have to be like agile, walking the floor and things like that. The leather pants, functional. Although our guests, we should let them know, we recorded a podcast this morning
That's
early,
right.
and our guest had
leather pants on.
leather pants on. Yeah, we're not. Are we going to tell?
Did you have a little bit of like FOMO seeing them?
It felt like home. Honestly, it felt like home.
I don't know if I'm going to make it to the show.
Really,
I might just go to bed.
No, you're not. You went to bed at 4:30. He went to bed at 4:30 yesterday. Not a.m., p.m. 4:30. That's true.
That's a true story. I wasn't sleeping though. I was just in bed.
So what time did you actually fall asleep?
Maybe like 10.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah,
Oh,
ASAP Rocky concert. Last ComplexCon, Cuddy performed.
That was amazing.
Great. Confetti was flying.
It was when the Pursuit of Happiness came on and just like the
Pursuit-
flames shoot
Pursuit
out of the stage.
Pursuit of Happiness came on. I kind of forgot where I was. The president of the company was behind me. I thought I was back at the South Street Seaport in like 2010 when I first saw Cuddy, and then I realized there's executives behind me, you know? So,
Is that the glow up, Joe?
call it what you want. Call it what you want. The Kid Cudi doc, though,
Yeah, you're in that, right?
I am in that. And the Kid Cudi doc is now streaming on Amazon. If you guys are fans of him, if not, it's a great story. A lot of people worked hard on that, so definitely check that out if you can.
I got to check that out. Have you had a chance to buy anything on the floor, Joe?
No, I didn't.
Welty, you buy anything?
No.
Wow.
Did you buy anything?
Yeah, that's why we're
Talk
here.
about
It's
a topic with a dead end.
As you can tell, we've done a lot of planning. I've been picking up some stuff for some friends. I bought a Turnstile record. I went to the BBC booth and got a NERD shirt. I thought that's something that you
There wasn't a
participate in.
crazy line there?
I mean,
Oh, wait, did you wait in line like everyone
my God,
else?
We're telling all the secrets here?
Just saying,
Anyway.
that line looked pretty long. You were in line for 2 hours?
Yeah,
I hope so.
definitely.
Sips tea, literally.
Come on, man. If you want to get your energy up, you should be having some tea.
My energy is fine.
Okay.
My energy's fine.
I have no idea what kind of. Yeah, it's green ginger tea. This might give you a kick that you need to survive through the set tonight.
We only do espressos. You heard the Premium Pete podcast. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Okay.
Joe, can we talk about you only eating lobby pizza all ComplexCon at the hotel?
Apparently, we're talking about it.
All right, so I've had 3 meals since I've been here, and all 3 have been lobby pizza. But I progressed. I thought I was going to eat at the First We Feast Lagoon. I blame Sean Evans for that crowd. You're not getting anything there when Sean Evans is doing a meet and greet. It's too crowded. So I had to resort to lobby pizza at the Hyatt. And I've progressively the meals have gotten more aggressive. So I started with regular cheese pizza Friday night. Last night, pepperoni pizza. And then for lunch today, I had the meat lovers pizza. So tonight,
You might throw some jalapenos on
All
that?
bets are
tonight
off.
I have to see what they have off the menu.
Okay.
Can we talk about the meet and greet we did earlier today too?
Yeah, did anyone come to the meet and greet?
Thank you everyone for showing up.
Yeah, we saw. Yeah, all 8 of you. No. No. Thanks everyone who came out to the meet and greet. Great installation for
Right
eBay.
there by the eBay pillar. The
Yes.
sneakers they had in those things, I would say to somebody else, I've never seen some of those shoes before in my life.
I saw a cleat in there. Did anyone know what the cleat was?
I'm not sure what
That was all
you're talking
DJ
about.
Ski's
Okay, the one that we were
DJ
at.
Ski's collection.
Yeah, I know there's the perfect pair.
Yeah, the perfect pair had some insane stuff. That gold accented pair of Jordan 3s.
Yeah.
Never seen them before.
I think that those were a Drake shoe.
Okay.
Yeah. But I remember we did a profile on him years ago. We
Did you write it?
Yeah, but we had we sent a photographer to his house, and he like brought out like a fleet of like murdered out.
Have
like,
you ever seen the
matte black
pictures that he
cars.
takes? It's like it's inside his house, but it's almost like he set up a drone. That's how high the sneakers are, and it's like
It's impressive stuff.
It's like 1,000 Air Maxes, and it's crazy collection.
Is Kenny in here, by the way? He's not. That's the perfect pair. So we appreciate him. I saw him at the First with Feast Lagoon. Kind of a similar interaction as I had with Lupe Fiasco. He was eating a sandwich, and he was like, "Okay, yeah."
How many elbow bumps while people were eating sandwiches did you get this weekend?
Those were the ones that stick out in my mind.
One thing we had talked about that was supposed to happen earlier, and I'm just asking you if it did happen because you were leaking it.
Do we? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We do need to talk about this. Yeah.
Did Joe Freshgood shock drop 100 pairs of the
New Balances,
990 V3s?
I think he released around 50 pairs. Did anybody get a pair of Joe Freshgood's New Balances when he released them today? Wow. Well, he did. You guys missed out.
He had said, we talked to him before, and he tried to do an online drop, and it was all bots that tried to get him. So he just canceled all the bot orders and then wanted to give the shoes to the actual people.
Yeah.
So that was his idea, which I thought was actually pretty cool, you know?
Shouts to Joe Freshgoods.
Sneakers for the people. Welty, we can talk about sneakers a little bit, but we do talk about food quite a bit on here. Can we talk about your journey that you had the other night?
Oh, yeah. So,
Do people want to hear about sneakers or the food we've eaten this weekend? We need to make sure we're prioritizing things.
Someone said sneakers.
Okay, the food that we're eating this weekend. Go
okay,
ahead.
so Friday night, landed,
Yeah.
had one thing on the agenda.
Okay.
I wanted to make the pilgrimage to Glendale, California.
So it wasn't working, even though it's a work trip. It was, one thing on the agenda.
Yeah, one thing on
not
the
working.
agenda.
I mean, the other things I could do,
Yeah.
other things I can
Yeah.
do, and I will do them
Yes.
because they're obligations.
Yes,
But you
go
do
ahead.
have other things that you can do that aren't obligations, right?
Okay, go ahead.
So, make a trip to Glendale, California, the illustrious Armenian capital of America, and met up with a few close friends. Went to
Met up with the cute.
Oh,
slipping.
It's a slip.
Went up with a few close friends. Went to Rafi's. Amazing time.
Few
Some
people
Rockies
recognize-
fans in the building, it sounded like.
Yes. Is there? Yeah. Shout out Vahe.
Oh, is that your friend?
Yeah.
Who you paid to sit here?
Yeah. He's actually a plant.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was great. It was great.
How'd they greet you? Did they greet you like, that?
Yeah, did they know who you were?
They picked me up on a chair. And
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
what I mean.
No, that didn't happen. I wish it did, but it was the time of a life.
You going back out there tonight?
Probably not. Maybe. I don't know.
After the Rocky concert?
Yep.
Maybe I'll come with you.
Okay.
I don't. That's not gonna happen.
I'm going to be in bed by 9:30.
By the way, usually on this show we give away sneakers.
Yes.
And I would love to do an Oprah moment where we gave away sneakers to everybody in here. I guess, just in case, look under your chair and see if eBay left a pair of sneakers for you. We're not giving away sneakers this week, but we are partnering with eBay for something special. We are cracking some card packs because this comes up on this podcast a lot.
A lot. Has
Our
anyone
affinity
heard?
for different types of cards. And we know that aside from the eBay sneakers thing, eBay is heavy in the card scene. So I think we have some special booster packs
Yes.
of a couple different card sets that we're going to do a live opening here on stage. And I have a whole...
Oh, wow.
Look, you have UFC Prism, 6 packs per box.
Okay.
I have 1 pack.
Okay.
Didn't quite get the box, but I got 1 pack.
Do you have some cards over there for me?
Yeah.
You have some cards over here.
Hold on.
Did they not bring your cards?
Where's Dave?
I found the cards.
Okay.
Nobody worry.
The good thing about this is it'll all be taken out in editing, so you guys see.
Behind
right.
the scenes. Yeah, for the people listening at home, this is all live ComplexCon magic.
What do you think the odds are I pull a Hasbulla card out of the
Oh,
UFC pack?
All right, so I'm looking for, I think,
And I have magic cards.
a Zion. You're looking for.
Is it possible you can play someone in Magic
Who are
here
you looking
live?
Well,
We don't have the materials in this.
What are you
in this
looking to
box for
pull?
Me?
Yeah. No, the other
You don't know what the value cards are? We should have some white gloves or something as we pull these cards out. We should get some PSA.
Also,
Does
this
anybody...
is going to be so embarrassing how tough it's going to be for me to open the pack.
This is one of the parts that we will definitely edit
Listen,
out for
if
the
anyone,
listeners and
if
viewers
anyone
at home.
listened to the podcast, I observe live breaks a lot. I don't open live breaks a lot, but
You just got one pack, Joe. Look at how many packs. I think I have like 16 packs.
you're
Joe,
looking-
I'm disappointed you didn't get WWE cards.
oh wow! And also, you open the pack to another unopened pack. So this is like the candles that never blow out. Am I going first?
You go first.
Yeah.
We all go at the same time.
All right, let's
You're
see.
gonna open all of them.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Let's see.
Just so you know, we're gonna sit here and I'm gonna go card by card through all 16 of these. That's 15 cards in each, and we're gonna describe them.
Oh, I got Dennis Rodman.
Is that good?
You know
sure
who
it
Dennis
is.
Rodman is, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
It's like the equivalent to you getting what would it be, like a charge? What is it in that Magic? What is that? What does it say? I don't know.
This is the Magic Commander
Gandalf?
Legends set, and it's ages 13 and up. So if there's anybody who's like 12 in here, as I open these packs, please avert
Like
your
the
eyes.
kid that Joe was hanging out with in the lobby.
Yes, my friend, yeah. Oh, and a bonus pack. So let's see, Dennis Rodman in the first.
Thank you
pack.
to eBay for setting up
Yes.
these boosters.
A great
for us.
installation.
Are we allowed to resell these cards?
You have an
On
eBay,
eBay?
account, right?
All right, Porzingis, John Morant. That's a great one.
Oh wow, is it
Do we-
holographic? Did I see that correctly?
John Morant, who?
Is it shiny?
It's shiny. Do we have any of those sleeves? I really don't know what that means. I just hear that like you're supposed to sleeves. Does anyone have a sleeve? Or
We
are
had
they
John
valuable?
Morant on full size run
Yes.
before he came into the league. Great guest.
The slowest opening of packs ever. Can we speed it up? We do have a guest, and Rocky is performing tonight. All right. Are you still? How? You have a
I'm
lot of
busy,
pack work.
yeah.
We'll be here all
Yeah.
night. There's no way.
I'm gonna crack one more. And
Okay,
then
go
maybe
for it.
Pull it onto bring it onto.
Man, two Nate Diaz's.
What a special moment for all of us.
Yes.
You think we can make it 3, Joe?
Let's see.
Is that card worth any money? Does anybody know? Nate Diaz? Could someone look it up on eBay?
Nate Diaz. I want Nate Diaz on sneaker shopping. I've been trying for years.
Oh,
Maybe
boy.
this is like a harbinger of
Straight
good
to
luck.
camera.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Nothing good.
All right.
We should bring our guest out.
All
You want
right,
to
so
show him your magic cards when he comes out?
Yeah, we'll talk
hide the
about, we'll
magic
talk about
before he
magic
gets
cards
out.
for another.
Before he gets out here, hide the magic cards, please. Seriously,
I'm not afraid of who I am, Joe.
just no. You guys are in for a real treat today. Our guest on today's podcast has been involved with footwear for over 30 years and has held numerous titles under the Nike and Jordan brand umbrellas. Throughout his career in the industry, he was the man who had the daunting task of finding out ways to consistently reinvent classics, a lot of which included your favorite Jordans, Nike basketball, and Nike sportswear models. Working closely with famed designer Tinker Hatfield and Michael Jordan himself, he would build the functional aspect of the sneaker first and then help marry design cues that were intended to satisfy the vision of the greatest player of all time. Later in his career, it was under his guidance and vision that took the Jordan hysteria to new levels through exclusive colorways and collaborations that changed footwear forever. Undefeated fours, the defining moments pack, this man pushed the button for those sneakers to happen. And in between his Jordan tenure, he did a stint at Nike Sportswear and greenlit things like the Galaxy Foamposite. Although he announced his retirement earlier this year, his footwear history is solidified, and his reputation as a product design risk taker is something that will live on forever. We're excited to have on the Complex Sneakers podcast, Mr. Gentry Humphrey.
G-Money.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Good.
Yes, sir.
How's it going? All right, good to see you.
I hope everybody in here understands how much of a legend this guy is. I hope the people at home listening and watching know everything that Gentry Humphrey has done in this industry, but I feel like it's hard to know because he's done so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How are you, Gentry?
I'm great. Thanks.
Have you had a chance to walk the floor yet?
I got a sneak peek. Looked at a couple of sneaker collections out there.
Yeah.
Wasn't out there long enough to really enjoy it, but yeah.
What have you been eating this weekend? Because we're mostly talking about food.
Food.
Yeah.
Actually, I just got back from Cabo, so
Okay.
I had a lot of great Mexican food, so that's been good.
Okay.
A little better than hotel lobby pizza, but okay.
Yeah.
And do you like magic cards?
Actually, I do.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
I'm glad you're
Know
not
your
afraid to
audience,
admit
right?
it. There's a pack for you. You
right.
actually like magic cards, Gentry?
Yeah, I actually do.
You don't have to lie to me.
No, I do.
Gentry,
I'm good, man.
You're going to meet me in the Hyatt Regency lobby to play later with Chris Schoenberger.
I'm not sure about all that, but
At any point in your career, did you ever try and make a Magic the Gathering Jordan Brand collaboration happen?
yeah, you know what? Actually, nothing to do with any cards, but yes, I did try to do some Magic presentations
Okay.
that were somewhat epic back in the day, making a shoe that people hadn't seen come alive. But
Any dragons involved?
no dragons. It was a real Magic involved.
These are real.
Oh, okay. Check.
Gentry, can we talk about the shoes that you have on feet, by the way? We like to,
Oh,
we like to
sure.
break the ice a little bit by
Sure,
talking about our footwear. What's on feet right here?
These are Air Force Ones, probably one of my favorite shoes based on this particular colorway, especially because for those of you that don't know, this shoe was actually called the Mistake shoe.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the reason we called it the Mistake was because when we originally tried to introduce this into the marketplace, it was supposed to be a white black with a swoosh, and the outsole, the very tip of the outsole, was supposed to be black, but the entire cup sole came back all black, and it was like, oh, this Mistake, and we're like, well, we'll just release it anyway. Blew out.
Wow.
And actually just became one of my favorites. It's like my dress shoe.
Wait, and you have the G Money character on the
Yeah, so
heel
I have my G Money character on the inside, just embroidered.
Something light,
logo.
right?
Very nice.
And you have some Air Jordan 4s too with the G Money on it?
Yep. Little.
Being in your position at Jordan Brand, could you make whatever shoe you wanted for yourself personally, or were there guidelines on what you could and
No,
couldn't do?
there's some guidelines, but, you know, you have some liberties at times.
Is there one that sticks out, a pair that you got that's obviously a one of one that is just like one that you put in the upper echelon of your collection?
I have a ton. So just so you know, when we sample up products to get some great, colorways, we'll do multiple colors to get 2 or 4 or whatever we need for the season. And so within that, you'll have some that come back, and some may not cut the bill, and then some might be super hot, and you'll be like, oh, these are too nice to let go.
I need those for me.
Just come over. But I would say probably one of my the biggest in my collection, I would think, is the original Defining Moments pack.
Okay.
So that shoe was, for those of you that don't know, it's a 2-shoe pack. We launched it to around MJ's first championships. Well, if you really know MJ's really first championship, it was his game at North Carolina.
Yep.
And so the original pack was a 3-shoe pack.
Okay.
And so we had an actual Converse shoe that was a part of that mix. That
Pro
collection.
leather, right?
Yep. And we took the silhouette of MJ hitting that game-winning shot over Georgetown and put that on the heel. Wow. And so, I have like 3 of those.
And was that in UNC colors or?
Yeah, it was a UNC color with some gold accents.
I remember a big moment around that pack too. I think it was on Bob Vito's It's the Shoes when he came to the Jordan Brand office around that time, and you were like, "Hey man, I got something special for you."
Yeah.
And you presented him with the DMP pack, and that ended up going to be. I feel like that's one of the shoes that very early on would define what sneaker hype was. Do you think that that's accurate or?
Definitely. Because until then, when I first came with the point of view, it was like, you're going to try to do a $500 collection? At that time, it was huge. But, I've always been, if you tell the right story, and it's an authentic story, people will rock with you, And so it was, some people wanted it, some people didn't, that's okay. But I do think that was kind of the start of some of the hype that happened.
I just remember that gold box. We talk about it a lot on this podcast, and I remember, I think I was maybe a couple years out of finish line, but the mall that day was just so crazy. Such a crazy release.
Yeah.
How much did you guys pay attention to the hype that happens on the day of release and things like reselling? Because I feel like, Gentry, you came to Jordan Brand and you helped turn retro Jordans into a real significant part of the brand's business, and with that came all this hype and all that reselling. Was that something that you were actively paying attention to in terms of how big it was getting?
Yeah, it was funny. So, we originally tried to drop the 3, And we did I think it was 93, we tried to bring it back. And man, it was not a good product. We had, I think I remember looking at like 27 mistakes that were made on the actual shoe that had come to market.
That first version of the Retro Jordan 3?
Yeah.
What are the mistakes on a shoe like that?
Oh, well, it was like a bunch of small ones that led up to one big one. So stitch lines, where logos were placed, outsoles, colorway, like minor things like stitch lines in a cup sole. Like there's just a lot of little things that were just not right, heights and all that. And so went back and changed those things to make sure that they were right. And I think that helped because you cannot fool this consumer. These are some of the most discerning consumers, and they know their stuff. And so the tough part about all that becomes, you don't always work with some of the same factories that you worked back within the 80s. So you can't have access to the exact same materials and things of that nature. So sometimes you're stuck with getting the best that you can do. But I think the whole hype for me was, there were so many people that everywhere I used to go, people would talk about their story. Everybody has a story. Man, I love the threes. I wanted those things so bad. I had to, get straight A's for a whole year or whatever. Or I had to cut lawns. Like everybody has a story. And so to me, being able to kind of bring those things back, but bring them back the right way, was important. And I think that helped, kind of spark the whole, what we know today.
How many one-on-one meetings would you have with Michael Jordan himself when you were trying to, recreate that shoe, like just presenting it to him? Like, what was that process like?
All the time. I mean, Michael, the one thing about Michael that I've always said is he's, to me, the secret weapon of the brand. I don't think that people really underestimate how astute he is to the game. I mean, from a business standpoint, he can tell you the numbers of what's going on in the brand, and he loves footwear. I think that if he wasn't a professional athlete, he'd probably want to do something. And, he's a guy that's, he's not like the guy next door. He's very different, loves being different, and doesn't mind being perceived as doing it his way. And so he's in all the conversations. At some point in time, we'll present the collection to him, and he's just great with, stories. We'll have inspiration for a particular project. We'll go to him and we'll say, hey, Em, here's kind of what the inspiration was. We're talking about Lamborghinis or whatever the thing might be. And he'd be like, hey, you know what? I love Lambos. He goes, but I love the sophistication of the Ferrari. And of course, he's got 51 cars. And so he's like, check this one out. And I just got this. And so you get nuggets from him all the time. So he's in every step of the process. He's a part of it.
Do you remember a shoe that you ever had? He had like a disagreement with you on that you presented. Because I remember originally he said he told Macklemore he didn't like green shoes when he wanted that. But was there anything that?
Well, he's not a fan of black shoes ever.
Really?
Yeah,
What?
He does not like black shoes. You'll probably rarely see him wear black shoes. I mean, every time he wore them in the playoffs, it was a mentality that he went. He wanted to wear black shoes based on how he wanted to take his game to the next level when he was in an opponent's arena, and so he felt this notion of being stealth-like was important. And so that would be the only time, like casually though, you'll never see him wear black shoes.
Interesting.
So that's constant, like, we show him various times, whatever, the black one, show the white one, and he's good.
Another thing I found interesting is that even like with the Jordan 11, we always look at the patent leather and think of it from like an aesthetic standpoint. But that had function in it as well. You guys were thinking about function first always, which a lot of brands always say. But like the patent leather on the Jordan 11, didn't you say that there was like function in that as well?
Yeah. So the great thing about the Air Jordan 11 was, crazy enough, MJ actually wanted patent leather on the AJ9.
Okay.
So the AJ9 could have had patent leather, but it was, for us, even at the time, we're like, ooh, this might be a little much. And it was kind of late in the game when he had brought it up to us. So obviously he took a break. I didn't wear the 10s, and then when it was time to do the 11, we brought it back. But the 11 was most important. Most people, it was the first time that the world had seen carbon fiber shank plates. Well, Michael had developed plantar fasciitis, and so back in the day, what they would do is put a steel, basically sock liner, steel plate underneath the sock liner to keep the shoe from flexing where it needed to flex. Because once your tendons start to stretch, it makes the plantar fasciitis worse. So that plate became the key, and we actually built everything around the plate. So if you're going to build a plate and want people to see it, you got to do a clear outsole so that people can see it. So that was the first and foremost thing. And the aesthetic was what people was known for, but I think what we tried to do is make sure that we get all of our players to play at the highest level with product that that's going to be able to sustain their type of game. And so to complement what we did in the tooling, we basically said, how can we keep him on top of the foot frame? So you've always seen those Sports Illustrated shots where the guy's just basically rolling off the top of the shoe.
Yeah.
It's like he's going to break his own ankles, not somebody else's.
Yeah.
And so the nature of patent leather, it's a synthetic, and it's not porous like full grain leathers are. And so full grain leathers, when they get sweaty, they start to stretch. And so patent leather doesn't do that. So in order to keep him on the foot frame, we used patent leather. And obviously he was like loving it because he's like, I know somebody's going to wear this in performance. And you have Boys to Men.
Yeah.
He said, I want it to be worn with a tuxedo. So
I got to mention the Jordan 11 too, because Gentry, I actually got a pair of Jordan 11s from you in 2012. For the people who remember when Gentry would be on Twitter, the Cracker Jacks. You remember Cracker Jacks?
Yeah.
Tell people what Cracker Jacks was for the uninitiated.
Yeah, so I don't hardly do anything on social media anymore because I got just a terrible experience, and it was because of Cracker Jacks.
Really?
Yeah.
Not because of
Was
me?
it because of
No,
him?
not because of you. Not because
Okay.
of you. So what I did was I just thought it would be cool to give back to people. Like my whole thing is about how do we as a brand and me as a person give back. And so it was my way of like just honoring people that love the sneaker game. And so what I would do is I'd be anywhere in the world, and I called it Cracker Jacks. And the reason I call it Cracker Jacks is because, it's maybe telling my age a little bit, but back in the day they had this caramel corn that you could buy in a box, and it was called Cracker Jacks. And inside there was always this little prize that you would get. And so for me, that was my way of giving away a prize. And so I would take something that's not going to come out for maybe 2-3 months or whatever. I'd have certain size runs, and I'd take them with me wherever I was in the world, and then I'd be on Twitter, and I'd basically say, hey, look, who's following? If you're wearing a size 10, and if you know the question to this or that, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd say, meet me here. Or I'd say, go into the tree
casino.
in front of the mall, and climb up there and go get it.
Did you leave the Magic Card convention to go meet him for the 11s?
You said you were getting a pair of size 5, though.
Yeah, it was a size 5 pair of Concord 11s, I think, in 2012. Really? Yeah. I think you left them at a casino in Salem, Oregon.
That's
and the
crazy.
instruction
That's
was like,
right.
tell the person at the front desk that, I forget, you left like an envelope, and the envelope was addressed to like J. Concord or something like that.
That's right. That's
and
what
you
I
told
would do.
them,
And that was you.
that was me.
Look at this full
crazy.
circle moment.
we are
That
today.
is crazy. I was at a Boys to Men concert that
Yeah.
night, and then I just had a pair of 5s that happened to be in my car, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave these for someone. That's crazy.
Look at
Tell me about the bad experiences you had, though. Why did that stop?
Well, it stopped because everybody, like, you can't, you can never please anybody on social media anyway.
Yep.
But it was just bad because I had people just like crapping on me for like, you didn't bring size 10? What the hell? Like everywhere I was going. And
I would have appreciated the 10.5.
Wait, what did you do with the size 5?
Is it on eBay somewhere?
It might be on eBay.
Okay.
It might have hit eBay at some point.
Listing never expired?
Yeah, it was just a bad experience just because people were just like, it negated all the good that I was trying to do, and so I just like, this not worth it.
Did anybody at the brand care? So you were at Nike for 25, 30 years, and I feel like you were at a high up position where you can kind of do what you want without having to worry too much about the rules that a lot of people have to play by. You retired this fall. Was anybody at Nike upset when you were doing Cracker Jacks, or that was cool with them?
No, they weren't then.
You said they weren't then.
Yeah, I think if I were to try to do it now, probably people would, frown a little bit, but, I had a little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
Gentry, you mentioned that the 9 was supposed to have patent leather, but did like Bibby and Derek Anderson have patent leather on their 9s for player exclusives?
Yep.
So what about, God, so many amazing...
Did one for Kobe.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did that happen? Were you guys trying to actively court him at the time? Were you part of that?
No, so if you remember, Kobe was with Adidas at
Right.
first, and then he wanted out of that contract, and there was
Early
a period,
2000s, 2003, I want to say.
Yeah, I'm terrible with dates, but you're
Same,
probably right.
years.
So he in his contract it said that he couldn't wear any one brand for a certain amount of time. So what the guys on the Nike basketball side did, they did some shoes for him, and then I did some shoes for him, and he rocked them, and obviously people went nuts. I saw one of the collectors had a couple of them up in this.
What players? What I remember, like Darius Miles and like Q.
Quentin
You know,
Richardson,
what?
yeah.
Who do you think, like in your estimation, had the best player exclusives? Which players stuck out?
To me, by far, Ray Allen.
Okay.
Not Mike Bibby?
No, Bibby had some hot stuff. Too.
Yeah.
Bibby
You
has
didn't
the
see-
vault.
Yeah.
Have you heard Fat Joe's story about getting choked up by Bibby?
Yeah.
I think Ray Allen had like a better color palette to work for on his shoes, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing, see, Ray is one of my best friends, so he had all the stuff. Like he even had stuff that didn't make the court. That's pretty fire. So, but between Ray and Mike is Bibby, he's a man. He's a true sneakerhead. Anything and everything. And to this day, he'll still call me. I'm not even there anymore. He'll still call me.
You mentioned Kobe, and I want to talk about another athlete who was kind of on a different brand, and I heard that maybe you had something to do with trying to court them. So your resume is so deep at Nike. You were at Nike basketball when you first started, I think, and then you go to Jordan Brand for about a decade, Nike Sportswear 2010 to 2015, Nike Golf, back at Jordan, then you left. But early in your career, is it true that you worked on a Nike model that was supposed to be for Allen Iverson?
Yeah. So early on, Allen Iverson's nickname was Bubba Chuck. That's what they called him. And so we did a shoe called the Bubba Chuck prior to him coming out in '95. So I was right around the same time as the 11 coming out.
Yeah.
And so we did a shoe that we called the Bubba Chuck, and it was based on it had a so if you could envision if AJ11 and a Jason Kidd Zoom 95
with
the
had a
Buckeyes.
little baby, it would look kind of like what
So it had like
Big
the
sole?
bubbles on the side?
Yeah, like bubbles on the
it,
sole.
It actually did. It had the outriggers with those little nubs on the side. We didn't have the big TPU pieces on the side. We had some overlays that mimicked the Rand of the AJ11 that were there instead. But the tooling was closer to
Did you ever get to present it to him?
no, we really didn't. He saw it because when we were courting him to come to us, he had a chance to see it, but I wasn't pitching it at that time, so I didn't get to do it.
Is there any other, AI obviously huge, but is there any other ones that kind of like got away that you really made a pitch for?
No, there was some interesting ones though, like Shaq's was really interesting.
Well, what happened with that?
Well, it was kind of like over before it ever started.
Okay.
He had just gone to Reebok first.
Didn't he show up to the Nike campus wearing Reebok?
Yep.
Is that what happened?
That's why it was over before it started.
This guy's
you
known
there?
to do that sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
To my left, yeah.
Gentry, I have to touch on it. So you mentioned internet hate before, and people from my generation, how I learned about you was through NikeTalk. And on NikeTalk, that's my first introduction to you was on NikeTalk. Because you were in the era when you were doing kind of like the Retro Plus sort of shoes, and the whole thing was Gentry's ruined Jordan Brand again. That was just the narrative on the internet. On the internet. How did that feel, and how did you react to that at the time?
It was funny. So at first I was taking it personal. I was telling everybody to,
Did you have a burner account?
Oh yeah.
You had a NikeTalk burner account?
Yes. And I was
Ahead of the curve.
yeah. I had to kind of control myself. But you know who helped me a ton with that was Fat Joe was one of them, and DJ
He said, "You have any problems on the internet, just call me."
and DJ Clark Kent.
Okay, shouts to
Both
DJ Clark Kent.
of those dudes helped me a ton there because they were like, "Gee, man, forget all the haters," You're gonna have them. And then you know who else helped me with it a ton was Oprah Winfrey.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Who is having that conversation?
Yeah. Well,
Oprah's on NikeTalk?
no. Well, I don't know if she was. but the reason I say she helped me was because she was saying, hey, I've given to so many organizations, probably given more money than basically anyone. And she was just telling me like all the hate stuff that comes her way. And I was like, well, damn, if they're hating on Oprah, like they're definitely gonna hate on my ass. So, hey, it just comes with the territory, and so you grow thick skin and you just deal with it.
We have to ask then, is Oprah into Jordans like that?
I don't know how much.
Wait, did you design a shoe for Oprah that never came out? Is that what you're telling me?
No. But she's asked.
She got the
for some
Shaq
stuff.
shoe?
Hey, she's asked for some stuff, and we've
Wow.
obviously taken care of. But yeah, I don't think she's a snickerhead like that.
Yeah, I feel like one of
That's
the
awesome.
things that people were always contesting online was the inclusion of Nike Air on the back or the Jumpman logo on the back. I feel like you played a role in that. Can you talk about that decision and how special it was at the time to have different kind of branding on there and where it's at now?
Yeah. So at one time, so what we did in '98, the Jordan brand was established as a true brand. Prior to that, I was working at Nike Basketball and responsible for the Jordan stuff. And when it became its own brand, I basically said that as long as I was around and working on all the projects, I would never put the Nike Air on the back of any of the remakes that we did.
Why?
Just to protect it?
And the reason is there were a ton of people out there that were even smarter than I was who saved those legendary products.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, from way back in the day. And I felt like those people should be rewarded for that. Like,
You wanted to keep the Nike Air
keep
version
the
special.
integrity. Yeah, for the people that were sharp enough to collect the shoes back then, I just felt like it was the right thing to pay homage to them for being so on top of the game. And then obviously I left to do some stuff on the Nike side, and then they all started jumping back on it. So it went away that quick.
How did you feel the first time that you saw them put the Nike Air back on the shoe?
I was like, they sold out. but obviously it was a big part of the business.
But didn't you feel weird then, like, you have like a new generation of sneakerheads and you're not giving them the opportunity to enjoy the same product that it came out before? Did you feel like you were shorting people by not giving them the original?
I didn't care, but at that point it didn't matter because it was already out. And so I embraced it after that, so I got it. It was not that big. To be honest with you, I probably would have came back at some point, even if I would have stayed in the brand and not gone to the Nike side to do some things. I probably would have given into it just because I let the consumer decide a lot of times, and we would do a ton of focus groups and talking to consumers, and I may have done it a little bit different than how it was introduced to make it super special, but I get it. It probably would have came around.
Another thing from that era was I feel like all the Jordan 1s were mids. And now it's become such a meme where nobody wants Jordan 1 mids. And if you wear Jordan 1 mids, you are a person of poor taste. And you're only allowed to wear Jordan 1 highs. Are you familiar with this kind of this idea?
Yeah, but it's so funny. So when I came back to the brand,
2018?
18.
Yeah.
The first thing I said is like, we are not showing any love to the AJ1 low or the mid. I'm like,
So you're big on the mid then?
yeah, I'm because from a business standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. But I do think like when you look at the pricing structure and how we did things, it was like this shoe has the ability to be a true franchise for the brand, and so just show it some love. Like we were early on putting some leathers that were just less desirable on it, and I was like, we weren't telling stories. We're known for telling great stories and bringing great materials and colorways, and so just show it some love. And now look at today; it's a $1 billion business on its own.
The mid on its own?
No, the whole franchise is.
The Jordan
but the
1
mid
franchise.
carries it.
You talk about making a lot of money with Jordan brand. I think one of the things that doesn't get discussed enough or gets hated on most is the rise in that whole era of Team Jordans, and how big that was to the business. What was your thoughts on that? Like collectors hating them, but then also making like the bulk of the money for Jordan brand.
Yeah. It's funny. It's part of the whole deal. Like when people have start to hate on you, they just don't understand like the business side of it. We built a brand that if you're going to continue to grow, and if you just try to build a brand strictly on, retros or what we've done in the past, at some point, the sustainability of that goes away because you're going to run out. So I was always trying to make sure that we built the next retro, show people something new so that, and honestly, like, today's consumer, you'll see a lot of kids out there looking at 14, 15, 16 through 18 and even 23, like as they're starting to become their grails.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what it's about. It's about allowing, the brand to live on by showing them new things. And in some cases, the team stuff. I mean, the one I take a ton of heat for is the Fusions.
Let's talk about it.
The Fusion, key lock, like
No,
the
but we've
Fusions?
had like people on our show full size run younger people who they loved the Fusion growing up because you said they were 12 years old when that shoe came out.
Yeah. That was a crazy one.
Talk about it.
I'll say what I can say. It was one of those things where I just wasn't a big fan of doing it, but was asked to try to make it work, and by some pretty big people in big places, and so yeah, we just ended up making it worse. And at the time, if you think of it, it was. In the industry, rarely do you have an opportunity to bring two great worlds together.
Right.
And we had an Air Jordan, the brand, and we had Air Force One, and one of the biggest models, and you bring them together and, again, see what happens.
The enthusiasm is palpable.
But I got a lot of heat for that one. I was like,
But I assume it's another one of those things where people just use you as the scapegoat.
Oh, for sure.
Not knowing that sounds like it was an idea they were behind.
We talked about kind of, you being at Jordan Brand mostly, but then like bouncing around. But one sneaker that we have to talk about when you went to Nike basketball, the Galaxy Foamposite.
Yeah.
Can you enlighten the audience about like how involved you were in that? I think you got pushed back internally. I mean, I always tell the story that I got a pair of those a little early when I was working at Complex, and it was the only day I've been threatened to
Someone threatened like rob you on Twitter.
Yeah, they were like, "Don't leave the office." I like posted a picture like, "Thanks so much for these," and then I was threatened like, "Don't leave the office."
Same people who were hassling you about the Cracker Jacks.
Yeah, exactly. I had to call Oprah. She was like, "Listen, it's fine. You can leave," and the rest is history. But talk about that sneaker, such like a moment.
Yeah. Well, so that shoe was originally was slated actually as a brand new project that we were going to introduce into the industry, just by way of technology. There's basketball shoes, at the time were, leathers and textiles and overlays and rubber and basically, and we're just like, how can we kind of change the game up, be innovative and move in a different direction? And the reality of it is I'm sitting there working with Penny Hardaway to talk about what we're going to do on his next signature shoe. And in the bag, we always show the athletes kind of what we're coming out with the season. And he happened to see the Foamposite, and he was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And so it was perfect because, you had a face now that could kind of take that into a different direction. So that's kind of why you have a Foamposite 1 and a Pro.
Got it.
Because the swoosh was really originally was just going to be one shoe, and then we ultimately did two because of Penny. So the model itself.
Wait! I don't understand.
Yeah, so there was really going to be just one Foamposite, one that was without the swoosh. So that's what Penny saw, and so that's what we ended up doing for Penny. But we felt like there was an opportunity to also complement it, to tell a new story for the entire industry. So we did the Pro, so we just added the swoosh. So you had a Penny version and you had the Pro version.
Gotcha.
That's crazy too, because people always talk about the Foamposite being it's like $1 million per size to make for the molds, and then Nike probably seemed like they didn't want to spend that much anyways, but then they're like, screw it, we'll spend all that more money and throw a swoosh on it.
Yeah. It was just an opportunity. The original idea was to kind of take it in a different zone, but when you have someone who was like Penny, who was killing it the way it was, and most athletes, you can't move. Once they get stuck on something, like, it's been hard to take them off of it. But getting back to the story around the Galaxy, so I think what we have been what we try to do really well is just tell great stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the All-Star game being in Houston, and we build product a year and a half out.
Mm-hmm.
So, we even have some time to work on some things. And so we just basically played on the whole notion of NASA and the galaxy and stars. And we had a couple versions of that. I did one of them that people ended up calling it the Milky Way. We didn't call it the Milky Way, but was one that I did in a presentation in Las Vegas. And it was kind of an early sample of what the galaxy
I
was
remember
gonna
the image of you holding it up.
Yeah. And so we had a couple models of it, but the whole thing with that was to really skin the shoe differently than how we had done it before. And so we worked with this one vendor that was really, really good, and it took a lot of work to try to make that happen and have it come out the right way. But once we landed it, obviously it was huge. I mean, we had people trading cars for it.
Yeah, someone traded a car for the.
Or they tried to.
Oh, they tried to.
Yeah.
I remember one release for the shoe, there was a helicopter that was circling above the mall because that's how much chaos ensued.
Yeah.
Did you ever have like second thoughts when you would make a shoe and then there'd be that much hype attached to it, and then like maybe these crazy situations would occur where you're like, maybe we shouldn't have created a sneaker that was going to drum up that much pandemonium?
Not really, but that doesn't mean that we weren't socially conscious of what happens, because we used to launch product on weekdays, on Wednesdays were the days, and we're like, no, we don't need kids cutting school and all that stuff, so we moved them out. And we've tried to do a numerous amount of things to try to prevent anything negative from happening on launch days, but sometimes unfortunately, I think it's more of a societal problem. You got, people doing a bunch of bad things for all the wrong reasons, and these things happen to be highly sought after, and they came in. So, we always try to pay attention to it and make sure that we do try to be as responsible about it as possible. But to be quite honest, sometimes we don't even know that some of the stuff is going to be as good as it is. I mean, we've got a good feel for like what's hot, but there's been times I've been wrong too. Like,
what's one that you were wrong about and one that you didn't expect?
Let's see. I'd probably say one of them that I was pretty wrong about was, I thought that the AJ23 was going to be way better than it was.
You mean better as a product or better received in
Better
the market?
received. Product-wise, to me it checked all the boxes.
There was still there was like the titaniums and whatnot.
Finale shoe?
Yeah.
That was a big shoe.
Yeah, but no, I thought it was going to be like AJ11 big.
Yeah.
And I think it was way ahead of its time. It was the first shoe that, you start talking about sustainable nature, like we were doing it way back then. Like we used water-based solvents versus some of the glues that were out that everybody in the industry was using. How we constructed the TPU piece was completely different. How we told stories about, MJ and his love for motorcycle riding with the Native American Indian culture. Like, to me, way ahead of his time, but just to me never got the love that it should have gotten. And then there's been some colorways that I thought have been pretty hot that just didn't make it. I think, what was the other question?
And then what was one that surprised you maybe that did so well and you were like, I don't know if this one's going to go?
I think the second Jumpman Pro 2.
Okay.
That one was like, it was kind of flying in the face. It wasn't the actual Air Jordan, so Michael wasn't really going to wear it. But it was pretty bold and provocative. And so I thought it had potential, but I was like, okay, well, we'll see, because it's still on a team shoe. And then when it hit, it was really good. And then you had, Cincinnati Bearcats, which were the crazy guys back in,
Kenyon
March
Martin.
Madness. Yeah, those guys were, man, I could tell you some stories there too. That was hilarious.
Please.
Well, it's just one story that that was just pretty wild. So we used to go to the courts, to some of the teams and watch them play, and we get feedback from all the players. And there was one time where they were practicing, and the coach was there telling the guys, "Hey, you need to take a charge. Everybody needs to learn how to take a charge." So they had this drill where they would be standing at like the free throw line, and they would run like from half court. And then dudes would just have to
Full speed.
just pound them. And then one guy, I'm not going to name the name, he's
Can
like,
you give us his initials?
I know. The coach, and you know, Huggins was a beast. Coach says, that was edited version. That was a cat-like charge.
Gotcha.
and so he goes, I'll show you how to take a charge. So you got Coach Huggins at the free throw line, like ready to take a charge from Jason Maxill, which is like 6'8", like 280. And he goes back to the baseline. Pow! Coach is laid out. Everybody's like, all the players were dying laughing.
His shoes come off his feet.
Oh man, it was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, that team was hilarious. But they were great as far as like, you know, giving us real feedback. Like no one held their tongue on stuff that was bad or good.
You talk about product, you know, that you weren't sure was going to make an impact or not. You know, a lot of the models that, you know, you're attached to were like new versions of stuff, like an Altitude 13, you know, a Lightning 4, a Cool Gray 11, like, you know, like Retro Plus sort of models, the colorways that had never come out before. Is it crazy to you to see that when those shoes came out, they were a big deal, but then all these years later, they kind of became like the new classics? They didn't get retroed in their own right. Did you ever expect them to be retroed when you first made these things?
No way. Like a lot of the stuff, and this is crazy. So back in the day, before we had like, you know, all the computers to do everything, like literally, it was like I went to college to do coloring. So it was like coloring exercise. It had markers, and you know that's how like Cool Gray 11 was done. Like a lot of Black
You just
Altitude.
drew the Cool Gray 11
yeah.
on a sheet of paper with a marker.
Yep.
Wow.
With a marker. And literally, and I get up really early in the mornings. I'm just an early bird, and so I went into the office one day really early and just started doing it. And then some of them were just colorways based on what our apparel team was doing. So, you know, back then I was like, you know, I was pushing on our apparel to kind of move in a different direction.
You didn't like the jeans?
I gotta be good.
You don't work there anymore.
But they're still my people. But let's just say, so I wanted to see some things change, and so then they gave me some apparel responsibility. So at least colorways, like you would think it'd be easy for us to hook up color, you know, between apparel and footwear, but we never could get on the right page, and so we finally started doing that, and so that's literally how some of these colorways came about. Is literally looking at the color palette that was attached to that particular season, and just really looking at it, making sure that it's stuff that's wearable. So if the apparel team is doing something that's pretty wild and bold and these crazy colorways, you're not going to do footwear that's wild and bold too. So it was just a matter of just coloring up. But there's no way I would have imagined that, you know, some of the same colorways would have been like grails for today.
Cool Gray 11s,
Yeah.
things like that. What about? I want to talk about Space Jam 11s real quick, because you were still at the brand when the Space Jam 11 came back in 2009, right?
Mm-hmm.
Surely you knew how huge that was going to be. That felt like such a watershed moment.
Yeah.
Like it happened. What do you want me to say?
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Some of those are kind of like layups. Those are easy.
Do you get excited on those release days when a product like that you know is going to be that huge?
To be honest with you, I don't. Because those are like no-brainers. I get excited about the stuff that pushes the limits that people like really love, and you know but we told a great story, and it's an authentic story that relates. Like when the Shattered Backboard was done, like I wasn't in the brand, but I was playing basketball with one of the guys that was responsible for it. I was like, dude, you guys need to do this. Like, and I kind of gave him the story, and then it came out, and like
People love
awesome.
that shoe.
That was awesome.
You had the idea for the Shattered Backboard originally? Yeah. That's it's one of these shoes, like you mentioned, retro colorways that have become like a new standard for a younger generation. Where like that's the grail for them.
Yeah.
And then what about like collaborations that are considered like people's grails that you were responsible for? Basically, like the Undefeated 4 sticks out as like such like a mythical sneaker, and only a few people have it. But talk about that shoe. Is that one that like I wouldn't consider that kind of like a fastball down the middle? There was like a story behind that.
Yeah, you know, that was a crazy one because originally, like, to me, that was the start of collaborations. You know, everybody's collaborating now, and, you know,
He was close.
Oh yeah.
We talked about it before you got on here. But
He added to the
even people
pantheon.
like us are
Matt,
almost
Matt
getting
Welty,
collaborations.
Adidas,
Yeah.
undefeated Jordan 4, somewhere on the same level.
Yeah, collaborations, are great because you can bring creative minds together and you discuss something and you might get something that neither one of you even expected. So it's great to do that. And so I actually reached out to the guys at Undefeated. And we started talking about what the potential opportunity could be. I loved the story that they had come up with. It was all based on this military thing. And so we sat down and we started playing with colors and materials and textiles. And but my big thing was with hopes that it led to some sort of give back. That was really big for me. And I was a little disappointed because after we did the limited series, it wasn't as much of a give back as it was supposed to be. But I had several others lined up to kind of do the next ones, and because it wasn't really panning out the way it was supposed to, we kind of let it go.
What were some of those that you had lined up?
I had something with, there's a company or a retailer out of the East Coast in Philly called UBIC.
Yeah.
We were gonna had some things lined up that we were gonna do with them, but there was several.
I'm surprised that MJ himself was cool with the undefeated 4 being notoriously doesn't like green sneakers, and I imagine pitching him on saying we're going to give this streetwear store their own collaboration wasn't the easiest thing to do.
Now, one thing MJ does know is business. Some things make good business sense.
Yeah.
He's not. He's sharp enough to know, like, hey, look, if this is what the consumer, like, even some of the stuff we worked on, in this day and age with some of the new players, like, he's sharp enough to know, like, what I needed in my day and what I wanted was one thing, but how we cater to the consumer today and to the athletes today is something else. So let's just make sure we're doing the right thing by them. So he's good like that, But he's quick to also say, like, I love that, just do it in white for me, or whatever color.
And later in your career, you start doing golf, Jordan golf. And the Chicago 1 golf shoes you did, essentially. And it's funny for me because I've had, like, best friends who obviously knew I was super into sneakers, and like they're always like, yeah, that's like a cool little hobby you have. And then, but there was like one who was like a really big golfer, and I got him the Jordan 1 golf spikes, and he like still wears.
Did I sell those to you?
You might have. Did you?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, like he's known me for decades. I've been into sneakers, and he's a pretty good golfer, and I gave him those Jordan 1 Chicago, and I remember he was like, yeah, on the golf course they like didn't understand it, and now a couple years later, 1, the value of those are skyrocketing, and 2, it's like every Sunday that he's golfing, he'll just send me the picture, and it's like, I get it, you're appreciative, but talk about that era, and like, it's like a whole business for Jordan now.
Yeah. So we, Michael loves the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love the game as well. So it was an easy one for us.
Who's
to
a better
go.
golfer?
MJ is right.
How much money have you lost to Michael Jordan playing golf?
Well, not.
Does Oprah come?
So let me tell you how it goes. So you got to play him for something.
Okay.
Because if you beat him and he goes home and tells everybody, hey, I beat Gentry Humphrey, he's like, who cares? But if I go and say, hey, I beat Michael Jordan, that's what he's worried about. Like, he beat Michael. So you got to play for something to give him that edge. So the very first time we played, I basically said, hey, well, let's make it all relative. I was like, we take 1% of your income and 1% of mine. And then what's going to happen? I'm like, if I got a 5-foot putt for $500, like my ass is going to shake.
Yeah.
I said, but you won't even blink. I said, if my 500 to your 500,000,
yeah.
now what? I said, you might shake at 500,000.
Right.
He's like, get the F out of here. So,
he didn't agree to the terms?
No, he did not agree to those terms, but he got the message.
Yeah.
So usually we'll play, we make it light. We'll play $100 a side. We'll do front 9, back 9 overall.
What's the best grouping you've been with playing golf with him? Any that stick out that was you've been around?
By far, me, Michael, Tiger Woods, and John Cook. He plays on the senior tour now.
Wow.
Incredible. It was a wild day. You're with 2 legends, playing, and listen to them talk smack, and it was that day I got a little bit of money too that day.
Okay.
Wait, you beat Tiger Woods?
Well, no, I didn't get money from him. I got it from John Cook and MJ. But Tiger shot 61 that day, and hit it OB on 18. Could have been a 59.
I want to ask you this because I heard this story in a rumor going around years ago. And I don't know if you have an answer to this. Speaking of Tiger Woods, that there was a pack of like 4 shoes that they had made, like a Serena shoe, a Dontrelle Willis shoe, all the dunks. And there was a Dontrelle Willis dunk in green, and then there was the quote unquote Dontrelle Willis dunk in red, but it was the ace of clubs, and it was supposed to be a Tiger Woods shoe. Do you know about this?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
You don't know about it, or we can't talk about it?
No, I honestly don't know about that
Okay,
one.
all right. I didn't know because
That was a NikeTalk rumor.
There was a rumor that Tiger Woods didn't want a dunk made for himself, and then that's why.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know about that one.
But
I wouldn't doubt it.
One shoe you do know about. I got a chance to interview the Eastside Golf
Yeah.
guys, and I guess you kind of helped make that happen to some degree.
Yeah.
The Air Jordan 4.
Yeah, again, I love golf, and I honestly believe like how we help, pay it forward to next generation of whether it's designers, whether it's creatives, whether it's young black entrepreneurs, whatever. That's incumbent upon us to do that. And so when I met him actually through Chris Paul and his brother CJ Paul. And I just loved what they're about. I think they're 2 young, aspiring professionals who have, who want to do something in the game of golf, and I love what their story's about. And so I just felt like it was important to try to help them get on the right foot. And so sat down with them and did a collab. And again, it had to be an authentic story that we told. And so the whole thing about the cement, on the 4s and them rising through the cement and, like a rose and all that type of stuff came into play. There's stories about, the portrait of Elijah, who's one of the owners. His story is basically painted on the bottom of the shoe. So it was, I just felt it was the right thing to do.
And those golf shoes resell for a lot of money, like Joe was saying.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Are you surprised sometimes at the resale market?
No, I actually love it just because, and again, getting back to your original question, we started doing promo versions of golf shoes way back in the day. So none went out for retail purposes at all. It was all like MJ, hey, Ahmad, Rashad, and all these guys. Like, let's just hook everybody up who are golfers that are in kind of the friends and family.
Yeah.
So we would do that, and so literally, it was like just sometimes cobbling up new bottoms with new uppers. It was just kind of crazy stuff. And then when I left sportswear and decided I just love golf, so I was like, I want to see if I can change the game of golf. And so literally, we started just talking to consumers again, and they loved the icons of both Nike and Jordan. And so it's like, okay, it's typically a very traditional game, and guys want, their saddle shoes and all, like, but not everybody has to be a saddle shoe type guy. So it was about how do we bring in some technology to address the needs of the game, and some crazy stuff that has potential to come out that I left before we really started talking about it. But anyway, so it was really easy because Michael loves the game, and so Michael had a ton of confidence in me and being able to because I was in the brand for 23 years. So he was like, take over. Let's just, while you're in Nike Golf, let's do all the Jordan stuff. And so then when I came back to Jordan, it was about, staying in, connected to the Jordan golf piece. And just, I love it. Like, when have you heard a golf shoe ever get, the respect or the love that you see today? It's just like the sneaker culture. So I love the fact that we were able to kind of
And there was like people, I remember like the Eastside Golf shoe with all the hype around it. There was people trying to figure out like, can I wear this like without like the spikes on the bottom, to the streets? And the answer is no. But
yeah. Actually, I saw the Eastside guys rocking it, and I was like, did you take the spikes off? But there's a plate underneath there, so you gotta be careful with that one. But there are some models that we're actually doing where you can wear them straight from the course to dinner and all that stuff, but that particular one, no.
Were there a lot of samples that never came out that eventually did hit the resale market? When you see stuff like that, Does that taint your vision of it at all? You know, you talked about kind of the undefeated thing before, and I feel like that was another one of those moments where this was a really like big shoe in terms of if you got this and you could resell this shoe at the time, it was thousands of dollars. It's way more money now. Did that change your perspective on things, knowing how much people were going after these just to resell them?
Yeah, it's a tough one for me because, I understand the reseller market, and I understand like, those kids like getting their hustle on, and trying to make things happen. So I get it. But I've always loved those folks that just the integrity of kind of collecting and, keeping it for yourself or wearing them, and respecting them. But I get it, it is what it is, So.
You see a lot of shoes hit auction nowadays, from famous people that are going for a lot of money. I'm sure you have a lot of stuff in your collection that could foreseeably sell for a lot of money. Does seeing, like a sample Air Yeezy sell for $1 million, does that ever tempt you to be like, hey, I could make some money off this?
Not yet. It's so funny, like, and it's probably too much information, but like, I was married and got divorced, and in my divorce, they were asking for like your shoe collection. Like they wanted something of equal value. Not only did I flip them off, but but there's certain shoes that are like my work. It's like, and so blood, sweat, and tears went into that, And so not only would I give it to her, that wasn't gonna happen. But those types of things, like I just don't see myself selling because there's it has so much meaning behind like what I have so many stories about so many different shoes, like why they exist, how come they didn't come, like, and so like that just means too much for me, and to know, and then to be quite honest, some of them if they got out there, people would know they came from me because there's no one that would have some of the things that I have.
Speaking more toward the end of your career, I think as we're close to wrapping up here in your retirement, did they make a special shoe for you as you exited the brand?
I think they've got some things coming because of COVID, everything was kind of crazy. So the exit was kind of weird. But so when I left the first time and they thought I wasn't coming back, I did the MJ thing. I had some.
That was in 2015 when there were reports about you leaving the brand?
Yeah. So I had some pretty cool shoes that I think they've seen on the internet. I had some 4s that were done in a tan and white and red colorway. There's a few of them, and I think they're working on some things. But so but to be honest with you, I have to be so discerning. I have so many shoes
for retail, for like shoes that they're making for retail, or just shoes.
No, shoes that they'll just make. Well,
personal.
Yeah, just for me personally.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have so much. It's like I'm like. Yeah, so you don't kill yourself. I'm good.
Even though you retired, how much are you still in tune with it? Have you been able to like step away, or are you still just working in the industry so long? Are you still like rabid about it?
Yeah, no, I think it'll be part of me forever, just because it's like what I've done. But I think the great thing is as profound as my career was in Chapter 1 and kind of having a hand in the retro game and coming back with great projects and having stories to tell, I actually believe like Chapter 2 is going to be even more profound. And because the things that I've experienced over the length of my career, I now have those experiences to share with people. And so a lot of the things that I'm looking to do, like I'm just as busy now as I was when I had a job with the brand. And it's really about, like I said earlier, how do I give back? Like I love kind of the nature of creativity and sharing that with all these this young talent that has aspirations of starting their own brands. I've got some things that I'm going to be doing to help share that with them so that they can get off to a great start. I'm doing some things with various entertainers. That's going to be fun. I started a foundation where I built basketball courts for underprivileged kids all over the world, and I bring them in and allow them to help build the court so that when we leave, they feel like it's theirs, and hopefully they learn a craft, and complement that with like storytelling with themes that we build for the court, and then we have a huge festival. We bring entertainers in with local talent and just donate those things back to the kids. I've got some ideas. I think where I was fortunate is learning from a lot of people early on in my career that the best way to do things is to solve problems, like identify problems and try to solve them in new ways. And so I've actually got a partner of mine. We built a studio in Las Vegas where we're going to actually look at new ways of launching products. Awesome. You know, we know that kids are getting killed by the bots out there. So we've got
You're building a new sneakers app?
It's well, that's Nike's thing.
Okay.
So my thing is an opportunity to allow people who just love sneakers to get them. And so that's coming pretty soon. So I've got a lot of fun things that I think are keeping me connected to the game or to the sneaker game, along with just, like I said, the most important thing is like, how do we pay it back to folks?
Amazing. Gentry, such an honor chopping it up with you. So ceremonious that it's our 100th episode and it's in front of a live crowd. We can't thank you enough. So much history, and thank you so much for taking the time for us this weekend.
All good. You guys do a great job. I mean, there's not too many people that, you know, kind of preach the gospel of the sneaker game really well. You guys do a great job. I appreciate you having me here. It's been great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gentry.
Guys,
Thank you,
give it up
everybody.
for
Thank you, everyone.